But Srila Prabhupada, he was very concerned about the future of the movement which he had spent so much time to cultivate. His whole life he simply prepared, we see from Srila Guru Pad's manifested biography, and how he was preparing from his youthful days simply for preaching Krishna consciousness all over the world. I remember that in Vrindavan, Mayapur also, many times he mentioned that if you can't, even if you don't expand, I don't mind, in one sense. Even if you don't expand, at least all the good respect, all the buildings, all the things which I have been able to expand, at least maintain. Don't let that deteriorate the smallest bit. Of course, especially in Mayapur, we see the very striking example as practically before our eyes we see the Gaudiya Math crumble with the paint falling off the walls. If they had just maintained the respect that Bhaktisiddhanta had established, the Viceroy of India had gone to the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya. If they even maintained that respect, today so many bogus philosophies would not be rampant. So, of course, we're not going to be satisfied with just maintaining. We want to also expand. But the point is how deeply Srila Prabhupada felt that every step we take must be a step forward. We should be very careful. We should be very cautious. We should be very responsible. What is responsibility? Every disciple is responsible to his spiritual master. What is the principle of devotional service? We are responsible to our spiritual master. And he is responsible to his spiritual master. And he is responsible to his spiritual master. Ultimately, everyone is responsible to Krishna through disciplic succession. So, the order of the spiritual master, that is supreme. Everyone has to serve that order. Whether that individual is a spiritual master or whether he is not a spiritual master, whoever he may be. The order of the spiritual master is supreme over all the disciples. We have seen that in our Sampradaya, Bhakti Vinod Thakur had started a panchayat of 10 men. Panchayat means governing body. And he said that whatever they meet privately and decide, that is not different from Lord Nityananda's verdict. That is to be accepted as Nityananda's desire. Then we saw how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he ordered his disciples that you cooperate together, make a governing body. And failing to do so, now everything is crumbled. Just the trace is there. And Prabhupada has very lucidly expressed all these things in the Caitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, third part, first few verses, when he's describing Advaita Acharya's 6 sons, 3 being asar or separated because they deviated from the Acharya, and 3 being bona fide because they maintained their loyalty to the order of Advaita Gosai. Even a son of Mahavishnu avatar, if he deviates from Mahavishnu, is no longer considered to be a real son. He's considered to be asar. So it's an unending struggle to fight with our mind, to fight with our materialistic mind and senses and materialistic intelligence. We have to fight with our, enemies or make them our allies by simply making them subservient to the instruction of our spiritual master. So just like our previous acharyas, Srila Prabhupada also said that there must be a governing body, and he made the governing body in his presence. He didn't leave it up to chance. And he sat through so many initial meetings also, just to make sure that everything went nicely. And when he entered into his eternal pastimes, although he's still present here, there's no doubt about that. It's not that he's entered and left us. He's still present, so much present, so carefully watching what is going on, so carefully giving out punishment and reward to make us aware of our mistakes and our success. But at that time when he, however, left from our physical vision, before then, in his will, verbally, so many different ways, he said that he wanted the society to go on under the governing body commission. That is the order of the spiritual master. Of course, he also appointed certain devotees to give initiation. And these devotees are his disciples. So in spite of the fact that they have to be spiritual master, it is their duty to give spiritual instruction exactly as they heard it from their spiritual master, exactly as is bona fide and authorized in the scripture. Definition is there. What is Guru? Guru is one who simply repeats what he heard from his spiritual master and from Krishna as he realized it. And that should be always completely in line with the Shastra. So in spite of some members being initiating acharyas, the devotees in general should be mature enough to see that they have the order of their spiritual master to follow. And that is the highest principle. And that order is that in this ISKCON society, the governing body commission decision is to be accepted as the desire of the previous acharyas, the desire of Krishna, of Srila Prabhupada especially. And therefore they have to accept that instruction. Even though they are absolute spiritual masters or devotees, still that absolute order they receive from their spiritual master takes great and supreme precedence over everything else. Srila Prabhupada has given us so many instructions in the scriptures. In fact, he's given so many instructions how to be a devotee, how to be a disciple, how to be a spiritual master, how to be a king, how to be a Kshatriya, how to be a Brahmin, how to be a Vaishya, how to be a Sudra. He's given all the instruction. How to be a Grihastha, how to raise children, how to give up Grihastha and be a sannyas. He's given all the instructions. So that for 10,000 years this movement will go on expanding. And so that everyone has a clear idea how he should act. Because nobody is independent of the Shastra. Lord Caitanya would sit and discuss with senior devotees Shastra, who is today the great Acharya of the Balav Sampradaya. He came and wanted to present. He had so many conceptions from... And his conceptions of Shastra were not accepted by Lord Caitanya. And that has been very carefully given, although he was such an advanced person. Of course, he couldn't swallow it. So he went off and he made his own sect. Or took another initiation from Vishnu Swami's sect. So therefore their sect does not understand what is Madhurya Rasa. They don't understand what is the highest point. They just go up to a certain level. But they're devotees, no doubt.